To develop P-15B stealth-guided missile destroyer ship Visakhapatnam commissioned at Naval Dockyard in Mumbai today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was also present on the occasion. Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur inaugurates Indian Panorama in the 52nd International Film Festival of India today. Information and Broadcasting Minister felicitated the feature and non-feature jury members in the inauguration ceremony of the Indian Panorama. In Andhra Pradesh, rain fury leaves 24 people dead and over 20,000 shifted to relief camps. State government announces ex gratia of ₹5 lakh each to the kin of those killed. In Tamil Nadu, Palar and Tenpeniyar rivers are still in spate. Interministerial team is due to reach Chennai this evening on a 3-day visit to assess the situation. Polish Prime Minister to hold series of talks around Europe on border crisis with Belarus to meet with his counterparts from European Union members like Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia today. Poland expects crisis to continue even as minor fall reported in the number of attempts by migrants seeking refuge inside the European Union. Anti-COVID measures protests in Austria, Netherlands, Australia and Croatia. Tens of thousands march in Vienna before lockdown. Protesters turn violent in Netherlands. Several thousands in Australia take to streets protesting against COVID vaccination mandates. And in cricket, India to take on New Zealand in the third and final T20 match at Eden Gardens in Kolkata today. Men in blue, who are 2-0 ahead in the series, will look to go for the clean sweep. Bench strength likely to be tested. Hello, you're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this edition of the news. Our top story first, the Indian Navy today commissioned its latest warship, Visakhapatnam, which is the largest guided missile stealth destroyer. The ship is the first of the Project 15 Bravo class. The predominantly indigenous weapon sensor machinery, fit and stealth features symbolize the maturing of India's shipbuilding capability and also the quest for self-reliance. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was also present on the occasion. With a length of 164 meters and displacing 7,500 tons, Project 15B ships are one of the largest surface combatants to be built in India. The ship is a versatile platform capable of blue water operations across the spectrum of warfare. The ship's indigenous state-of-the-art weapon sensor suite, coupled with advanced network, enables the capabilities and integral multi-role helicopters, makes her a potent platform that packs substantial offensive and defensive capability. The ship, designed by Indian Navy's Directorate of Naval Design and built by Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders in Mumbai, is yet another fulfillment to the Atmanirbhar and Make in India motto. Earlier, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was given Guard of Honour. India continues to see a decline in the COVID cases. The country has registered over 3.39 crore recoveries that has been recorded so far across the country. Now, out of this, 12,329 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. With this, the recovery rate has increased to 98.3%, which is the highest since March 2020. 10,488 daily new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. India's active caseload stands at 1,22,714, which is the lowest in the last 532 days. Active cases account for less than 1% of the total cases and currently stand at 0.36%. Now, this is the lowest since March 2020. Daily positivity rate currently stands at 0.98%, which is less than 2% for 48 consecutive days now. Weekly positivity rate currently stands at 0.94%, which is less than 2% for the last 58 days. Testing capacity has been substantially ramped up, with 63.16 crore tests conducted so far. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 116.5 crore landmark. Cumulatively, 116 crore 50 lakh 55,210 beneficiaries have been administered the vaccination dose so far. More than 67 lakh 25,000 vaccine doses have been administered on the 309th day of the country's largest vaccination program on Saturday. Out of this, 20 lakh 95,253 people were given the first dose, while 46 lakh 30,717 were administered the second dose on Saturday. In Tamil Nadu, Pallar and Tenpenya rivers are in spate in northern part of the state owing to heavy rains in catchment areas, especially in neighbouring Andhra Pradesh. Many villages were isolated in the northern districts, including Ranipet, Vellore, Tirupattur and Chengalpattu, as vast areas of farmland were submerged in floodwaters and also livestock were washed away. A bridge near Madhanur collapsed after the rapid increase in the water level in Pallar river, cutting off many villages in Tirupattur and Vellore. Water discharge was stepped up from Punai and Pallar Anicut into the Pallar over the past few days following heavy rain upstream. 11,000 people have been moved to relief camps in Panruti and Kodalur as 30 coastal villages were flooded. Meanwhile, a 7-member central interministerial team is due to reach Chennai this evening on a 3-day visit to assess the situation. Tamil Nadu government has already submitted a memorandum to the centre seeking 2,079.86 crore rupees for permanent restoration work and 549.63 crore rupees for interim relief measures. Last 3 days in Andhra Pradesh had seen one of the deadliest rainfall bouts. Nellore received around 126 millimeters of rainfall in the last 5 days, whereas Chittoor received 160 millimeters of rainfall. Kadapa and Anantapur districts received rainfall of 144 millimeters and 112 millimeters respectively. A total of 8 NDRF and 9 SDRF teams have been deployed in Chittoor, Nellore, Kadapa and Anantapur to carry out relief and rescue operations. So far, 64 people were rescued in these districts. A total of 172 mandals are affected due to rains, 12 in Nellore, 46 in Anantapur, 66 in Chittoor and 48 in Kadapa. The state government stated that 7 are dead in Anantapur, 4 have been reported from Chittoor, 11 people have lost their lives in Kadapa and the total death toll is 24 and 17 people are still missing. Rains and floods have affected 23,994 people and also 1,549 houses have been damaged at an estimated cost of 5 crore rupees. Around 612 big cattle and livestock, while 1,791 small cattle and livestock. This loss has also been reported and a total of 243 relief camps have been set up. 20,923 persons were evacuated and 20,923 persons were accommodated in relief camps. The government also said that 2,33,450 hectares of agriculture crop and 19,644 hectares of horticulture crop got damaged due to heavy rains in the state. As an immediate measure, the government has released 7 crore rupees for relief operation in affected areas and also to meet the expenses for providing basic amenities to people who are affected by heavy rains. Special assistance of rupees 1,000 per person and a maximum of rupees 2,000 per family who are sheltered in relief camps was also announced by the government. An update from Rajasthan now. As many as 15 ministers, 11 cabinet ministers and 4 ministers of state will be sworn in today, as the oath ceremony for the new ministers will be held today at Raj Bhavan in Jaipur. All ministers in Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's government tendered their resignations on Saturday during a meeting at his residence in Jaipur. The in charge for Rajasthan affairs at the AICC, Ajay Makan, was also present at the Chief Minister's residence. The clamour for cabinet reshuffle has been growing for the past several months, with a demand to accommodate supporters of Chief Minister Gehlot's former deputy, Sachin Pilot, who had revolted against the Chief Minister last year. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, today felicitated feature and non-feature jury members in the inauguration ceremony of Indian Panorama in the 52nd International Film Festival of India. The first of the jury members of non-feature category were felicitated. Director and producer of the opening film of the Indian Panorama, non-feature Ved, the visionary Rajiv Prakash, was felicitated. Later, jury members of feature category were felicitated. Director and actor of the film Same Core, the first ever Dimasa language film, MIB was felicitated by the minister. Also speaking on the occasion, the minister said that efforts must be made to bring the regional cinema at the forefront. He stressed on making India a post-production hub, as we have the skill set to make good content in India.
ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि जो क्षेत्रीय है उसको राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कैसे बनाएं. And today that is possible. If you are creating the right content, then it is not restricted only to the regional language. It becomes national and international soon. We have the talent amongst us, the technology, the skilled manpower. We can offer to the world the platform to come and shoot in India, film in India, and also to have the post-production hub in India.
Later, the minister felicitated the jury members of the 75 Young Creative Minds of India. Addressing the gathering, the union minister said that you're the first batch with a lot of responsibilities and have been selected to get nourished into becoming the honor of this country.
इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल ऑफ इंडिया में भारत के उन युवाओं को जिनमें प्रतिभा हुनर की कोई कमी नहीं, केवल एक अवसर का इंतजार था, और शायद आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव से सुनहरा अवसर क्या होगा उन 75 युवा क्रिएटिव माइंड्स को चुनने का, तराशने का, उनको निखारने का. पहले बैच की जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि वो सबसे अच्छा निकले, ताकि मेरे जैसे व्यक्ति जो और कदम इस दिशा में उठाना चाहते हैं, मेरा भी मनोबल बढ़े कि ऐसे ही और कदम हम भविष्य में उठाएं, ताकि आप जैसे युवाओं को आगे आने का आगे अवसर मिल सके.
And up next, waiting for a short break, you're watching DD India. Stay with us.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India, and World Television Day is being observed today across the globe to mark the increasing impact of the early 20th century invention in the contemporary world. In recognition of the increasing impact television has had on decision making by bringing world attention to conflicts and threats to peace and security, and its potential role in sharpening the focus on other major issues, including economic and social issues. The United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 21st November as World Television Day in 1996. The United Nations has tweeted, and I quote, "From efforts to fight racism to the urgency of climate action, television helps raise awareness about the important issues facing our communities and our planet." World Television Day 2021. And on the occasion, CEO of Prasar Bharati, Shashi Shekhar Vempati, in a tweet said, and I quote him, "This World Television Day also makes a major transition to Doordarshan as we bid adieu to the era of analog terrestrial television transmission and take steps towards direct to mobile terrestrial broadcasting." An Indian and French contingent participating in the joint military exercise Ek Shakti visited the Mazarguo World War Cemetery, Marseilles, where Indian soldiers of World War I were cremated. Now, the contingents paid homage and presented the Guard of Honor to the brave hearts at the War Cemetery in France. And up next, we get to international updates. First, we get to updates on Belarus and the migrants crisis. Polish Prime Minister will begin to hold a series of talks in Europe about the pressure of migrants in the European Union's border with Belarus, a crisis that he expects will continue for many months or even years. On a social media platform, the Polish leader said that the border crisis with Belarus is a very serious geopolitical situation and requires a lot of diplomatic effort. The Prime Minister said his first meetings would be with his counterparts from European Union members, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, which have also been hit by migrant pressure in recent months, though to a lesser degree. During the week, he is to travel to some other European countries, which he did not name. Meanwhile, a minor fall is being registered in the number of attempts being made by Arab Kurdish migrants at the Polish-Belarus border seeking refuge inside the European Union. The Polish border guard said on Twitter that there were 195 attempts to cross the frontier on Friday, down from 250 on Thursday and 501 the day before. The West has accused Belarusian president of using the migrants as pawns to destabilize the European Union in retaliation for its sanctions on its authoritarian regime. Belarus denies the engineering of the crisis, which has seen migrants entering the country since last summer and then trying to cross into Poland, Lithuania and Latvia. Poland is pushing the migrants back, saying it is protecting the border for all of Europe. It has received words of support from the European Union, NATO and also the US. International Organization for Migration Chief of Mission in Belarus said on Saturday that the migrants in the logistics center on the Belarusian-Polish border are still in need of basic commodities, despite the fact that their situation has improved. The UN representative called on the countries involved to work together to solve the situation. Migrants from the Middle East, Afghanistan and also Africa trapped in Belarus are trying to enter Poland but are denied access. Up next, we quickly take a look at the global situation with regard to COVID-19. When we talk of the situation, then the world is still battling the crisis. The World Health Organization has warned that some 500,000 more deaths could be recorded by March unless urgent action is taken. Up on your screens, we have the global figures when we talk of the situation with regard to COVID-19 across the world. WHO said that they are very worried about the spread of COVID-19 within Europe as the continent battles a fresh wave of infections. The warning also comes as several nations report record high infection rates and introduce full and partial lockdowns. WHO Regional Director called for increased vaccine uptake and also the implementation of basic public health measures and also new medical treatments to help fight the rise. Many European countries are imposing new measures as the cases rise, and countries including the Czech Republic and Slovakia have also announced fresh restrictions on unvaccinated people as record infection rates are recorded across the continent. Thousands of Austrians protest against the government's COVID policies on Saturday and demanded freedom back 2 days before a full lockdown is reimposed to tackle a new wave of infections. Austria introduced a lockdown for those who are not fully vaccinated from tomorrow. Roughly two-thirds of Austria's population is fully vaccinated, one of the lowest rates in Western Europe. On Friday, Austrian Chancellor said that the whole population would be required to get vaccinated by February. In Netherlands, protesters gathered outside the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam on Saturday night to demonstrate against the COVID measures. Thousands of protesters showed up for a march around the city's central Dam Square. The march remained peaceful, monitored by heavy police presence. Several hundred protesters gathered at Museumplein, a tourist hotspot, also closely watched by the riot police present. Netherlands reimposed some lockdown measures last weekend for an initial 3 weeks in an effort to slow a resurgence of COVID contagion, but also daily infections have remained at their highest levels since the start of the pandemic. Parliament is divided over a plan proposed by Prime Minister Mark Rutte's government to limit access to indoor public venues to people who have a corona pass, which shows that they have been vaccinated or already recovered from the infection. Let's talk of sports now. India and New Zealand are all set to face each other in the third match of their 3-game T20 series. The clash will take place today at Eden Gardens in Kolkata. India, led by Rohit Sharma, have already taken an unassailable 2-0 lead in the series.
India will be up against New Zealand in the third T20 International on Sunday evening at Eden Gardens in Kolkata. India has taken an unassailable lead of 2-0 in the 3-match series. Indian openers Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul showed a brilliant touch in the last match. However, middle order has been an issue to worry about since in both the matches the run rate slowed down considerably in the middle as well as death overs. Ishan Kishan or Ruturaj Gaikwad can be given an opportunity for some game time at the top of the order, while Venkatesh Iyer may move up the order too. R. Ashwin has been the best bowler for India in the 2 matches. However, with the series already won, India may bring in young pace battery Avesh Khan for his debut. Harshal Patel delighted the fans and the team with his player of the match performance in the second T20 International on his debut. New Zealand opener Martin Guptill played a fabulous knock of 70 runs in the first T20 International match and then scored a quick-fire 31 runs off 15 balls in the second match. Mitchell also looked to score runs in the last match. The challenge for the New Zealand batting would be to score quickly in the later stages of the match. India looked the better of the two teams by a fair distance in the first 2 games. In the batting department, the men in blue have sizzled. It will now need a Herculean effort from New Zealand to avoid a series whitewash. Sports Desk, DD India.
And Liverpool thumped Arsenal at Anfield as the Reds got back to winning ways in the Premier League after dropping points to Brighton and at West Ham before the international break. Jurgen Klopp's side eventually took apart the Gunners outfit, who fell behind Sadio Mane's first half header. Only some fine stops from Aaron Ramsdale prevented more red goals in the final half. in the first half, but there was nothing he could do about a Nuno Tavares error which allowed Diogo Jota in for the second at the start of the second half. Mohamed Saleh and substitute Takumi Minamino with his first touch added further goals as the Reds ran riot. With the win, manager Jurgen Klopp's side moved up to the second place in the Premier League and redeemed their 4-point gap behind Chelsea, who briefly sat 6 points clear at the top with a resounding win over Leicester City earlier on Saturday. All right, that's it in this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.